himself. No, he's not losing his grip on reality, he's mastering it. Talking to oneself might look odd to the untrained eye, but for Sigma males, it's a deliberate tool for mental clarity. This habit, often mistaken for eccentricity, is actually rooted in neuroscience. Studies from institutions like the University of Michigan and Bangor University have shown that self-directed speech, especially when done aloud, can significantly improve focus, memory retention, and problem solving. When Sigmas talk to themselves, they're essentially conducting a mental audit. Unlike extroverts who process thoughts by discussing them with others, Sigma males turn inward. Their minds are like strategy rooms where self-talk becomes the whiteboard for mapping out ideas, weighing options, and rehearsing crucial conversations. Whether it's figuring out a life choice or preparing for a tough discussion, a Sigma might whisper through scenarios. Playing both sides like a one-man chess game, this behavior is not new. Even Albert Einstein admitted he often talked to himself, claiming it helped him clarify his thoughts. The practice of verbal self-guidance has also been shown to help regulate emotions and enhance self-control, key traits that align with the calm, calculated nature of the Sigma archetype. So while society might label this as weird, Sigma males embrace it as a form of mental discipline. It's the equivalent of mental push-ups, sharpening their inner dialogue to stay aligned with their goals and values. Next time you find yourself deep in conversation with yourself, don't feel awkward. You're not losing your mind, you're tuning into it. You're not overthinking, you're refining your thought process. You're not being odd, you're being Sigma. In a world addicted to external noise, the Sigma male's inner dialogue is a superpower, quiet, intentional, and powerful. Number 2, disappearing for days. No calls, no texts, just ghost mode. Let's break this down and turn it into something both educational and engaging. Ever heard the phrase going ghost? It's not just a pop culture quip, it's practically a Sigma male trademark. While others might see disappearing acts as rude or mysterious, for the Sigma male, vanishing is a deliberate strategy. It's not about avoiding people, it's about returning to center. Sigma males value solitude like a desert values rain, absolutely essential. Psychologically speaking, individuals with high levels of introversion and autonomy, traits often associated with the Sigma archetype, gain energy from solitude rather than social interaction. This is supported by research in personality psychology, particularly the Big Five personality model, where introversion and openness often correlate with a strong need for deep thinking and personal space. So when a Sigma male suddenly dips out of a group chat, skips the weekend get-together, or seems to vanish from social media, it's not drama, it's design. Alone time is when they strategize, recalibrate, and sharpen their goals. They might be journaling, reading, training, or just thinking deeply, building mental muscles that don't grow in noisy rooms. Society often glorifies constant connection, notifications, messages, meetings. But Sigma males rebel against this overstimulation. They prefer to disconnect to reconnect, stepping away so they can show up stronger, clearer, and more aligned with their purpose. And here's what makes it fascinating. Every time a Sigma returns from a self-imposed exile, they bring back something new, a refined idea, renewed motivation, or a sharper sense of self. It's like a mental detox retreat, except it happens without fanfare. So next time a Sigma goes ghost, don't interpret it as coldness. It's actually a sign of self-respect, discipline, and a refusal to lose themselves in the noise of the world. They're not escaping life, they're mastering it from the shadows, because in solitude, they don't just recharge, they evolve. Number 3, obsessing over random skills for no practical reason. One week it's lock-picking, the next it's Mongolian throat singing. To outsiders, it might look like Sigma males have the attention span of a squirrel in a disco. But in reality, there's a method to the madness. You see, curiosity is the Sigma's internal GPS. They don't chase trends, they chase understanding. Sigmas aren't content with surface-level knowledge, they plunge into the depths of whatever topic catches their interest. And while it might seem like they're collecting a random assortment of skills, they're actually sharpening their mental toolkit. Learning diverse, seemingly unrelated hobbies like lockpicking or throat singing activates different regions of the brain. According to neuroscientists, engaging in varied activities stimulates neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections and adapt. In short, these weird hobbies are a form of mental cross-training. Much like athletes diversify their workouts to avoid burnout and strengthen different muscle groups, Sigmas explore different disciplines to boost creativity, cognitive flexibility, and problem-solving skills. It's not about impressing anyone or collecting trophies. Sigma males don't learn to compete, they learn to transform. Whether it's understanding survival knots, diving into ancient philosophy, or exploring obscure art forms, each endeavor adds a unique layer to their perception of the world. This eclectic knowledge base allows them to adapt in unpredictable situations, think outside the box, and connect dots others don't even see. And here's the twist: none of this is accidental. What appears spontaneous is deeply intentional. Sigmas recognize that all knowledge is interconnected. What you learn from singing in the Tuvan steps might somehow influence how you approach business negotiations, leadership, or relationships. So, if you've found yourself spending hours mastering how to start a fire with flint, or decoding the symbolism in ancient hieroglyphs, don't worry, you're not wasting time. You're feeding the beast. You're feeding your curiosity, sharpening your mind, and building a framework of intelligence that's as diverse as it is powerful. For the Sigma, learning isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. Number 4, avoiding small talk, like it's toxic waste. To the Sigma male, small talk isn't just tedious, it's a misallocation of valuable mental bandwidth. When someone brings up the weather for the 10th time, a Sigma doesn't roll his eyes to be rude. He simply checks out because his mind is wired for depth, not distraction. This isn't antisocial behavior, it's intentional energy management. Studies in personality psychology, particularly around introversion and high openness to experience, two traits Sigma males often exhibit, suggest that deep thinkers find surface-level chatter mentally exhausting. Why? Because their brains crave substance. They're not interested in rehashing the mundane. They want dialogue that sparks thought, shifts perspective, and reveals truth. A Sigma male might go silent in a group not because he has nothing to say, but because nothing worth saying has been brought up yet. When the topic finally turns to ideas, philosophy, innovation, psychology, purpose, he comes alive. That's his domain. When a Sigma does speak, it's rarely filler. His words are measured, considered, and often surprising. Think of it like a well-crafted espresso shot, small but powerful. There's no rambling, no fluff, just distilled insight. This is why Sigma males are often misunderstood. Their silence is seen as aloofness, but it's actually a filter. They're tuning out the noise to conserve their focus for what matters most. And when they do engage, it's with intention. Their conversations leave impact, not echoes. In essence, talking about the weather for the 10th time feels to a Sigma like eating styrofoam. Pointless, flavorless, and slightly irritating. Give them philosophy, purpose, or even a bit of mystery, and you'll see their minds ignite. So next time a Sigma zones out mid-chit-chat, don't take it personally. He's not being rude, he's just waiting for something real, and when that moment arrives, expect clarity, expect depth, expect fire. Number 5, people watching like they're running a human experiment. Sigmas are often mistaken for being aloof, but the truth is far more fascinating. They're low-key behavioral scientists. Picture one in a quiet corner, sipping coffee, eyes scanning the room. To the average person, it looks like he's people watching. But what he's actually doing is decoding a hidden world. Sigmas are highly observant. According to psychology, nonverbal communication makes up 60 to 93% of all communication. That means tone, facial expressions, body language, and eye movements matter more than the actual words we speak. And Sigmas, they pick up on all of it. Every twitch of an eyebrow, every hesitation in a sentence, every micro-expression gets logged in their mental database. Why? Because Sigmas crave understanding of people, power dynamics, and social systems. They don't engage for validation. They observe to analyze. They study how people lie, looking for the classic tells like avoiding eye contact or fidgeting. They study how people love, recognizing patterns in body orientation, tone shifts, and even mirror behavior that signal attraction. They even detect leadership traits in group dynamics, like who commands attention without saying much and who overcompensates with loudness. Armed with this knowledge, Sigmas move through the world with surgical precision. They don't just guess, they strategize. It's like they're playing 4D chess in a game where everyone else is still learning the rules. They use these insights to decide who to trust, who to avoid and when to strike, socially, professionally, and even romantically. What makes it more intriguing is that Sigmas rarely reveal that they've noticed anything. They blend in, staying quiet, letting others underestimate them. Meanwhile, they're building a psychological profile with every interaction. So, while most people are out there trying to be heard, Sigmas are listening. While others are reacting, Sigmas are decoding. And in a world full of noise, that makes them the quietest force in the room and perhaps the most powerful. Number 6, staying unreachable, even with a phone in their pocket. Texted a Sigma, don't hold your breath. If you're used to instant replies and double texts, buckle up, because Sigma males operate on an entirely different wavelength. These lone wolves don't ghost. They glide in and out of communication with the precision of a submarine on a secret mission. Why? Because they don't chase validation or attention. Sigma males value solitude, introspection, and independence above social norms. Studies in behavioral psychology show that highly introverted and self-actualized individuals often require longer periods of mental recharge. That's not indifference, it's internal maintenance. When you message a Sigma, you're not pinging someone glued to their phone. You're knocking on the door of someone who views their time and focus as currency. And here's the twist. They spend it wisely. Unlike the constant seen and typing culture of modern texting, Sigma males are boundary architects. Every alert is a gate to their attention, and trust me, not everyone gets through. It's not arrogance, it's discipline. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology notes that individuals with a high degree of autonomy tend to filter out distractions and delay responses to stay aligned with their goals. Being constantly available isn't a virtue for a Sigma, it's a vulnerability. So if he doesn't reply in 10 minutes or 10 hours, it's likely because he's investing his mental bandwidth where it counts, on his mission, his growth, or his peace. This behavior isn't toxic, it's strategic. So the next time your phone stays quiet after texting a Sigma, remember, it's not personal, it's principled. He's not ignoring you, he's prioritizing himself. And in a world full of noise, that kind of clarity is rare. In short, if you want a Sigma's attention, earn it. Because access to his world isn't granted by default. It's unlocked by presence, patience, and purpose. Number 7, waking up early for no reason and loving it. 4 a.m. The world sleeps, but the Sigma male is already wide awake, not because of an alarm, not for a meeting, and definitely not for a red-eye flight. He's up because that's when the noise of the world fades and the real work begins. In the early hours before dawn, the mind is at its sharpest. Scientifically, cortisol, the hormone responsible for alertness, is naturally higher in the morning. This gives early risers a cognitive advantage in memory, focus, and decision-making. For Sigma males who thrive in solitude and self-mastery, this is prime time. There are no texts buzzing, no distractions, no social obligations, just silence, a canvas for their creativity. Sigmas use this time to write, plan, strategize, or simply sit in stillness. This isn't just a productivity hack, it's a philosophy. They don't rise early because it's trendy. They rise because it gives them clarity and control over their lives. While others drag themselves out of bed, Sigma males are already 3 steps ahead, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes literally. History backs this up. Thinkers like Benjamin Franklin and writers like Ernest Hemingway were early risers, harnessing the dawn hours for deep, uninterrupted work. To outsiders, it may seem eccentric, but for a Sigma, waking at 4 a.m. isn't weird. It's sacred. It's when vision is clearest, purpose is strongest, and the world is finally quiet enough to hear your own thoughts. That's not just a habit, that's strategy, that's Sigma. Number 8, smiling at chaos. When everyone else is freaking out, crisis hits, people panic. Guess who's chilling? The Sigma male. Why is the Sigma so calm when everyone else is losing their heads? It's because Sigmas have trained themselves to thrive in uncertainty. Unlike the typical alpha or beta male archetypes who may rely heavily on external validation or group dynamics, Sigmas operate from within. They've embraced solitude and silence not out of loneliness, but as a powerful tool to build inner resilience and mental toughness. This calmness in chaos isn't just a personality quirk, it's a survival mechanism backed by psychological principles. Research shows that people who practice mindfulness, self-reflection, and emotional regulation handle stress much better. Sigmas intuitively embody these traits. When a crisis unfolds, their nervous system doesn't spiral into fight or flight panic. Instead, it triggers a focused response, often called the rest and digest mode in neuroscience, which allows clear thinking under pressure. Sigmas don't seek drama, but they don't shy away from it either. When conflict or chaos arises, they don't flee or freeze, they step up as natural leaders. This isn't about loud dominance, but quiet confidence. Think of the Sigma as a calm eye in the storm. While others are distracted by noise and emotion, the Sigma is calculating, observing, and strategizing the best move. Their preference for solitude actually primes them to build mental endurance. Solitude provides space to process experiences, recharge, and develop a deeper understanding of themselves and the world. It's no coincidence that many historical geniuses and leaders, from Nikola Tesla to Albert Einstein, valued solitude as essential to their creativity and problem-solving. In a world that's increasingly chaotic and unpredictable, the Sigma's weird calm is a superpower. It's not passive, it's profoundly powerful. When crisis hits and panic spreads, the Sigma stays cool, focused, and ready, a steady force that transforms chaos into opportunity. Sigmas, those weird habits you have, they're not flaws. They're frameworks built on intentional choices. Psychologically, Sigma males reject societal pressure to conform, choosing instead to live by their own rules. Unlike alpha males who lead crowds or beta males who follow, Sigmas operate independently, often embracing solitude as a space for self-growth and deep thinking. In a world flooded with noise and constant validation seeking, Sigmas prioritize silence over chaos and depth over surface-level connections. This pattern isn't accidental. Studies show that introversion and reflective thinking can boost creativity and emotional intelligence. So when you find yourself tuning out distractions, craving meaningful conversations, or walking your unique path, know you're not alone. You're part of a growing tribe that values quality over quantity. Keep nurturing those habits. The world doesn't just need leaders, it needs silent architects shaping the future. Stay true, stay Sigma. Greetings, Sigmas. A storm doesn't ask for permission, it just shows up, shifts the sky, and rewrites the day. That's you. You are the Sigma male. You don't need volume to make an impact. Your presence does the talking. While the world fights to trend, you walk quietly through the noise, reshaping the energy in the room just by existing. That's not arrogance, it's alignment. Psychologists often label Sigma males as lone wolves, men who operate outside traditional social hierarchies. You're not interested in being the alpha barking orders, nor the beta following the pack. You chart your own course, guided by inner values, not external validation. You observe, you process, you act with intention. While many rush to lead crowds or chase likes, you're mastering yourself. According to studies in behavioral psychology, self-mastery, discipline, emotional control, and introspective thinking is one of the rarest but most powerful traits in leadership and life. They'll misunderstand you. Some will call you distant. But distance isn't detachment, it's focus. Others may think you're cold, but you've simply shed the need for approval. You don't hate people, you dislike pretense. And in a world obsessed with fitting in, your refusal to wear a mask is revolutionary. So if you've ever felt like the world wasn't built for you, maybe it wasn't. You weren't made to blend in. You were born to walk your own path. And sometimes that means walking alone. You don't follow rules, you rewrite them. Let's dive deeper into what makes you a force the world wasn't ready for, but desperately needs. Number 1, the natural command presence. Sigma males don't chase authority, they attract it. It's not a hustle, it's not a campaign, it's an energy. Walk into any room and you might notice one guy leaning against the wall, not saying much, no flash, no noise, yet somehow everyone seems to notice him. He's not commanding attention, he simply owns it. That's the Sigma. His presence is his power. Unlike traditional alpha males who assert authority through dominance, Sigmas operate on a quieter frequency. They don't need to raise their voices or flaunt accomplishments. Their body language is composed, their words are intentional, and their confidence is unshakable. This is backed by psychology. Studies in social dynamics suggest that nonverbal communication, eye contact, posture, calmness, can carry more influence than words. Sigmas intuitively master these. And while many leaders are forged through experience, training, or charisma, Sigmas seem born with leadership in their bones. But here's the twist. Just because they can lead doesn't mean they want to. Why? Because Sigmas value autonomy more than authority. They don't seek control over others. They seek control over themselves. The idea of being in charge, of dealing with politics, groupthink, or managing people's emotions is often a distraction from their true focus, freedom and personal growth. That's what makes them so intriguing. They'll lead when it matters, when their principles are on the line or when chaos needs clarity. But as soon as the job's done, they'll retreat into solitude, recharge, and refocus. In essence, the Sigma male flips the leadership script. He's not climbing the ladder, he's building his own tower. That's why people naturally follow him, not because he demands it, but because he makes you believe there's another way, a better way to move through the world, quietly, confidently, independently, and that's real authority, the kind that finds you, not the kind you chase. Number 2, independence above all else. Sigma males value freedom, the way a lion values the wild, not just as a preference, but as an instinct. You see, in the professional world, leadership often gets tied to titles, suits, and conference calls, but for a Sigma male, that's not leadership. That's bureaucracy with a bow tie. Being in charge the traditional way means navigating endless layers of accountability, internal politics, social expectations, and perhaps worst of all, meetings. Long, circular, soul-sucking meetings. To the Sigma, this feels like captivity. According to behavioral psychology, individuals with high autonomy motivation, like Sigmas, perform better when they can self-direct and innovate without excessive oversight. But instead, many corporate structures box people into rigid hierarchies that stifle creativity and demand conformity. Sigma males didn't invest years mastering skills and building discipline just to become glorified babysitters for underperforming teams or to play nice in corporate popularity contests. Unlike alphas who may chase status and recognition, Sigmas thrive outside of these social games. They lead by example, not by decree. They are lone wolves, not because they can't run with the pack, but because they choose not to. This doesn't mean they're against leadership. On the contrary, many Sigmas are natural leaders, but of a different kind. They lead themselves first. They trust their judgment, walk their own path, and inspire others simply by being unapologetically authentic. And if people choose to follow, great. But Sigmas aren't interested in trading their soul for a title or sacrificing their autonomy for a corner office with a view. They'd rather have freedom, even if it comes without fanfare. That's why so many Sigmas end up as entrepreneurs, freelancers, or creatives, fields where self-direction is not only allowed, but required. In the end, true leadership isn't about power, it's about purpose. And for the Sigma male, that purpose starts with living free, thinking independently, and never ever letting the system tame the lion within. Number 3, the hatred of micromanagement. Let's be honest, most leadership roles can feel like full-time babysitting, meetings about meetings, status updates on status updates, micromanagement dressed up as oversight. For the Sigma male, this isn't leadership, it's prison with a cubicle. A Sigma male operates on a completely different wavelength. He's not drawn to titles or org charts. Traditional leadership, with its top-down chains of command and obsession with authority, suffocates him. He doesn't want to hover over people, and he definitely doesn't want anyone hovering over him. In fact, studies in organizational psychology have shown that autonomy is one of the top predictors of job satisfaction, especially among individuals with introverted or independent traits. Sigma males rank high in autonomy-seeking behavior. They're wired to lead by influence, not imposition, through example, not instruction. This is the guy who builds trust by walking the walk, not barking orders. When people follow him, it's not because of his job title, it's because they respect his actions, his results, and his consistency. It's what psychologists refer to as referent power, leadership earned through admiration and credibility rather than authority. When the system starts demanding control over every detail, constant reporting, rigid procedures, office politics, he checks out. Not because he can't handle it, but because he sees the futility in managing people like they're incapable of thinking for themselves. He believes in empowering, not managing, in inspiring, not instructing. So yeah, herding cats blindfolded? A Sigma might actually prefer that. At least cats don't schedule back-to-back meetings to discuss synergy metrics. In the end, the Sigma male's leadership is quiet but powerful. It's not about commanding attention. It's about earning it through action, integrity, and the freedom to lead without leashes. Number 4, leadership without the ego. Here's the plot twist. Sigmas do lead, often better than alphas. But here's what makes it so unique. They don't lead for status, not for praise, and definitely not for the spotlight. Unlike alphas, who are often loud, commanding, and front and center, sigmas lead from the shadows. Their style is quiet, deliberate, and deeply effective. Think of it like this. The alpha is the general rallying troops on the front line. The sigma, he's the strategist drawing up the battle plan in a dimly lit room. And when the dust settles, it's his vision that won the war. Leadership researchers have recognized different leadership styles, such as transformational, servant, and laissez-faire leadership. Sigmas often embody aspects of all three. They lead by example, transformational. They empower others without micromanaging, laissez-faire, and they deeply care about the impact rather than the optics, servant leadership. That's why teams under Sigma-like personalities tend to be more autonomous and motivated. And what's more fascinating? Studies in behavioral psychology have found that people with high emotional intelligence, wow, a key Sigma trait, are better at influencing others without force or authority. They don't demand respect. They earn it by staying calm in chaos, listening more than they speak, and executing more than they promise. Now here's the kicker. When others finally recognize a Sigma's greatness and try to hand him a crown, he steps back. Not because he's shy or afraid, but because he doesn't need it. Wisdom tells him that titles fade, but legacy lasts. Sigmas would rather build something eternal and walk away than stay to collect applause. So while the world is busy watching the loudest leader in the room, the Sigma is already 10 steps ahead, quietly changing the game without ever needing to announce he's the one running it. Now that's leadership, number 5. He sees through the game. The Sigma male is not impressed by titles, ranks, or shiny nameplates on office doors. To him, leadership games, the politics, power struggles, and popularity contests, are just ego-fueled theater, and he sees right through it. While many chase after influence by climbing social hierarchies and engaging in groupthink, the Sigma male walks a different path. He values authenticity over approval. He doesn't join the noise of the boardroom battle or the social ladder scramble because he knows those battles are rarely about true leadership. They're about control, perception, and validation. This isn't just personal preference. Psychology backs it up. Research on social dominance theory shows that while alpha personalities thrive in dominance-oriented environments, lone wolf personalities like Sigmas reject the dominance hierarchy entirely. They don't need to be at the top because they're not playing that game. They derive their sense of purpose internally, not from external validation. Groupthink, a psychological phenomenon first studied by Irving Janis in the 1970s, occurs when people conform to a group to avoid conflict, often at the cost of critical thinking. Sigma males are immune to this trap. They're not afraid to hold an unpopular opinion or stand alone. In fact, they often prefer it. And here's where the twist comes in. Because he's not trying to manipulate, climb, or conform, the Sigma male comes across as genuine. That raw authenticity becomes magnetic. People trust him not because he demands it, but because he earns it by being real. He doesn't speak to impress, he speaks with purpose. He doesn't build alliances to gain power. He builds connections based on mutual respect. Ironically, by not trying to lead, he becomes a leader in the purest sense, someone others naturally look to for clarity, direction, and truth. So while the world plays power chess, the Sigma male simply walks off the board, and somehow everyone follows. Number 6. Self-leadership is the foundation. You can't truly lead others without first mastering the art of leading yourself. This fundamental truth is what sets Sigma males apart. They embody self-leadership in its purest form. But what exactly is self-leadership? At its core, self-leadership is the ability to direct your own life with intention, discipline, and purpose. It means taking full responsibility for your emotions, decisions, and actions, instead of blaming external factors. Psychologists refer to this as having an internal locus of control. People with this mindset believe they shape their own destinies rather than being victims of circumstance. Sigma males strongly exemplify this trait. Discipline is a cornerstone of self-leadership, but it's not about rigid control, it's about forming consistent habits that build momentum. Research shows that self-discipline is an even stronger predictor of success than raw intelligence. Sigmas get this. They have a clear vision for their lives and act in alignment with their core values. This clarity fuels natural motivation, making it easier to stay on course. Because of this internal guidance, Sigmas don't seek approval or rely on outside authority. Their internal compass drives them to do what's right, even when no one is watching. This breeds independence and confidence, two key Sigma traits. In short, mastering self-leadership builds resilience, integrity, and self-awareness. It makes external validation unnecessary because you already know your worth. That's why Sigma males lead by example. They inspire, not by demanding control, but by embodying true leadership within themselves. Number 7. The social outsider who influences from the shadows. Sigmas are often misunderstood as outcasts, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Unlike outcasts who are rejected or isolated due to incompatibility, Sigmas consciously choose to operate outside the traditional social hierarchy. They don't belong to the pack, yet they never stray too far from it. This unique position allows them to observe and analyze the social dynamics from an outside perspective, without being entangled in the drama or competition that can dominate group interactions. Think of Sigmas as the quiet strategists on the edges of the circle. While the alphas might lead with boldness and the betas support through cooperation, Sigmas listen, absorb, and understand the flow of conversation and power. Their strength lies in their ability to see what others overlook, the hidden motives, subtle cues, and unspoken tensions. When the time is right, Sigmas share their insights. These contributions can dramatically shift the direction of a conversation, a project, or even a movement. It's a form of leadership that doesn't rely on volume or dominance, but on precision and impact. This silent leadership is often the most effective because it's thoughtful, deliberate, and comes with an air of mystery and respect. Psychological research suggests that people who operate this way often have high emotional intelligence and self-awareness. They don't need constant validation from others, which allows them to stay calm and focused, even in chaotic situations. That's why Sigma leadership can be so lethal. It cuts through noise and gets straight to the heart of the matter, influencing outcomes without the need for loud commands or flashy displays. In essence, being a Sigma means mastering the art of strategic detachment, staying close enough to influence but distant enough to maintain independence. It's leadership in its rawest, most powerful form. Number 8, no interest in dominating others. When it comes to social dynamics, people often talk about alphas and betas as if they're the only two kinds of men in the room. The alpha male is portrayed as the dominant leader, the guy who takes charge, commands attention, and thrives in the spotlight. Betas, on the other hand, are often seen as followers, those who comply and support the alpha's lead. But what about the Sigma male? He exists entirely outside this binary, forging his own path and rewriting the rules. Sigmas are unique because they don't crave dominance nor submission. Unlike alphas who may feel the pressure to constantly prove their status, Sigmas have an intrinsic self-awareness. They know who they are without needing external validation. This internal certainty lets them operate on their own terms, often under the radar. While others are busy competing for rank and recognition, Sigmas focus on building, whether that's personal growth, entrepreneurial empires, or deep, meaningful connections, often unnoticed by the mainstream. This is why Sigmas typically disdain traditional leadership roles that feel performative or forced. To them, the idea of being in charge is often about putting on a show to please others or maintain a facade of power. Sigmas don't perform, they simply exist authentically. Their power comes from authenticity and self-reliance, not from barking orders or seeking approval. Psychologically, Sigmas exhibit high emotional intelligence and independence, which allows them to disengage from societal pressures to conform. They're often lone wolves, not because they dislike people, but because they value their autonomy. Research into personality archetypes shows that this kind of independence correlates with creativity and innovation, as Sigmas can focus deeply without distraction. In essence, Sigmas are quietly powerful. They're not loud or boisterous, but effective and self-assured. They lead not by standing in front, but by walking their own path, inviting others to follow if they choose, rather than commanding it. That's why the Sigma male's strength lies not in dominance or obedience, but in authentic existence. So, Sigmas, if you've ever felt out of place in traditional leadership roles, guess what? You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not avoiding growth. You're wired differently, strategically, brilliantly. You were born a leader. just not the kind this noisy world understands. And that's okay. Because your leadership doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to be real. The world needs less ego-driven authority and more silent strength, more sigmas. Sigmas, if this hit home, if you saw a mirror in these words, then it's time to rise. Subscribe, like, and join this growing tribe of lone wolves rewriting the rules. You don't need a title to lead, you just need the courage to live your truth. And remember, stay true and stay Sigma. When a Sigma male decides to marry, he doesn't suddenly become needy or overly expressive. Instead, his love shows up in powerful, understated ways. Chief among them is his quiet consistency. He doesn't flood his partner with constant "I love you" texts or dramatic romantic gestures. Instead, he shows up every day without fail. Studies in relationship psychology, including work by Dr. John Gottman, highlight that emotional trust and daily consistency are stronger predictors of long-term relationship success than sporadic displays of affection. Sigma males intuitively get this. Their emotional steadiness creates an environment of safety and reliability for their partner. What's fascinating is that Sigmas don't rely on external validation. They don't need a relationship. They choose it. That choice makes all the difference. It means every action, from making coffee in the morning to protecting their partner's dreams, is done with intention. And the moment a Sigma steps out of his solitude to share life with someone, it's like a mountain moving. He's inviting someone into a space he fiercely protects, his peace, his thoughts, his routines. He does this not out of obligation, but because he sees a partner as a true equal and ally, not a crutch. So when he says nothing but still shows up, it's because his silence is loaded with loyalty. His quiet strength tells her, "You're safe with me," without needing to say a word. This isn't passive love, it's deliberate, it's disciplined, and it's rare. Number one, he values her freedom as much as his own. Let's get one thing straight. A Sigma male doesn't believe in cages, not for himself and certainly not for his wife. In a society where many relationships mimic control rather than companionship, the Sigma male stands apart. He doesn't view love as possession, instead he sees it as partnership. His philosophy? A woman in full bloom isn't one kept in a glass case, she's one who's free to fly. Unlike alpha males, who may dominate, or beta males, who often appease, the Sigma male carves his own lane, independent, introspective, and self-reliant. This independence also colors how he loves. He doesn't feel threatened by a woman with ambitions, opinions, or passions of her own. In fact, he celebrates them. Research in modern relationships supports this mindset. Studies from the Gottman Institute show that mutual respect and autonomy are key indicators of long-term relationship satisfaction. When both partners are free to pursue personal growth, the relationship strengthens rather than frays. For the Sigma male, micromanaging is out of the question. He doesn't monitor texts, question every outing, or dictate her wardrobe, not because he's indifferent, but because he's secure. Trust is his foundation. He understands that a woman who's trusted feels valued, and a woman who feels valued gives her best in return. She's not a sidekick in his story. She's a co-leader in their shared journey. Her dreams are just as valid as his. Whether she's launching a business, going back to school, or chasing a lifelong passion, the Sigma male is her loudest silent supporter, cheering from the sidelines without trying to take over the game. It's this blend of emotional intelligence, quiet strength, and unwavering respect that makes the Sigma male a rare breed in modern love. And for the right woman, that's not just refreshing, it's revolutionary. Number two, he's low maintenance but deeply present. Sigmas aren't needy, and that's not just a personality quirk, it's a defining trait. Unlike individuals who require constant emotional reassurance or external validation, Sigma males are self-contained. They don't chase approval because their worth isn't measured by how others perceive them. It's anchored in who they are. That's why, when they're with their wives, they bring something rare and refreshing to the table: genuine presence. In a world dominated by digital distractions and half-hearted conversations, the Sigma male stands out. He doesn't bring his phone to the dinner table, not because it's a rule, but because he chooses connection over convenience. Studies have shown that just having a phone visible during a conversation can reduce feelings of trust and empathy. The Sigma knows this intuitively. His partner isn't just another voice in the background, she's the main event. No fake smiles, no passive nodding, no ahas while scrolling. When a Sigma male listens, he does so with intent. He leans in, makes eye contact, and processes every word. This isn't about being dramatic, it's about respect. He listens like your words matter because to him they truly do. Neuroscience supports the power of active listening. It builds deeper emotional bonds and enhances trust, especially in romantic relationships. But here's the key, he doesn't do this to earn points. He does it because that's who he is. Independent yet emotionally intelligent, the Sigma male doesn't need constant interaction to feel secure, but when he commits to a conversation, he's all in. His strength lies not just in his silence, but in the depth of that silence, focused, intentional, and filled with care. So, while others might perform presence, the Sigma embodies it, not through grand gestures, but through the quiet, powerful act of truly showing up. And that's where his strength and his appeal lies. Number 3, he respects her intelligence, not just her beauty. While the world often conditions women to believe their worth lies in their appearance, the Sigma male challenges this narrative. He isn't impressed by perfectly contoured cheekbones or the latest fashion trend. What grabs his attention? A woman with curiosity in her eyes and fire in her mind. Sigma males operate outside traditional social hierarchies. They're lone wolves, introspective, independent, and driven by substance over surface. This means they see past societal illusions. A Sigma male isn't seduced by external glamour, he's drawn to intellectual depth, authenticity, and passion. When it comes to his partner, this mindset creates a powerful dynamic. Conversations aren't limited to small talk, they venture into rich terrain, philosophy, theology, politics, even quantum physics on a good day. And it's not about debate for ego's sake. It's about mutual growth. The Sigma male views his wife as an intellectual equal, a fellow explorer in the landscape of ideas. Research supports that deep conversations can strengthen romantic bonds. A study published in Psychological Science found that couples who engage in meaningful discussions report higher levels of connection and satisfaction. For Sigma males, this is instinctive. They're wired to go beyond the surface because that's where true intimacy lives. Now let's talk about support. If his partner is chasing a dream, whether it's starting a non-profit or launching a podcast, the Sigma male is all in. He doesn't see her goals as a threat or a distraction. Instead, he sees her passion as part of what makes her extraordinary. He'll champion her with the dedication of a campaign manager and the loyalty of a lifelong friend. This kind of support isn't just romantic, it's revolutionary. It subverts outdated gender roles and fosters a relationship built on partnership, not pedestal placement. In a world that tells women they're either beautiful or brilliant, the Sigma male quietly affirms, "You're both, and more." In essence, the Sigma male is a game changer. He values intellect over image, depth over dazzle, and connection over convention. And in doing so, he helps redefine what it means to love and to be loved in the 21st century. Number 4, he stands by her, even when the world doesn't. A Sigma male is often misunderstood, not because he lacks presence, but because his presence doesn't come with noise. He's a quiet storm, calm on the surface, yet powerful in motion. While many men may feel the need to assert dominance or declare loyalty with grand gestures, the Sigma male's strength is revealed in the moments that matter most. You won't see him seeking validation or performing affection for an audience. Instead, he operates with a quiet confidence that speaks louder than words. Psychologists describe Sigma males as introverted alphas, men who possess the leadership qualities of an alpha but choose to operate outside traditional hierarchies. They are self-reliant, thoughtful, and highly observant. These traits make them emotionally attuned to the needs of those they care about. When the world turns its back on the woman he loves, criticizing her, doubting her worth, or overlooking her strengths, the Sigma male doesn't respond with aggression or arguments. Instead, he becomes her shield. He doesn't waste energy proving others wrong. He stays grounded, offering stability and loyalty when it's most needed. Studies in interpersonal relationships suggest that emotional support during times of stress is more impactful than constant praise. This is where the Sigma male thrives. He knows when to speak and when silence is stronger. He understands the power of showing up, not showing off. This quiet defender doesn't need to fight every battle. His presence is the defense. When she doubts herself, he reminds her of her worth, not with empty flattery, but with actions that anchor her. He listens when she cries, protects when she's vulnerable, and stands beside her when the world feels against her. The Sigma male's loyalty is not performative. It's proven in the clutch moments. He may not shout above the noise, but he'll stand in front of it. He doesn't ask for recognition because he's not driven by ego. He's driven by values. And one of those values is loyalty in its purest, most powerful form, silent, steadfast, and unwavering. Number 5, he leads, but never controls. Leadership isn't about domination, it's about direction. And for a married Sigma male, leadership doesn't roar, it resonates with quiet strength, intentionality, and emotional intelligence. Sigma males are known for being lone wolves, independent thinkers who live by their own code. But when a Sigma chooses marriage, he doesn't abandon his nature. Instead, he adapts it. He leads not with a heavy hand, but with a clear vision. This means setting the tone for the relationship, defining shared goals, and consistently moving toward a purpose. But relationship psychology support this. Couples who practice mutual decision-making report higher satisfaction and emotional closeness. When it comes to guidance, a Sigma male leads by example. He models consistency, discipline, and integrity, but he never demands obedience. He's not looking for a follower. He's building alongside a queen. This is a relationship of co-creation, not control. One of the most misunderstood concepts in relationships is submission. The Sigma male understands it isn't a one-way street. Ephesians 5:21 says, "Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ." Mutual submission is key. That means both partners respect, support, and sacrifice for each other. In practice, that looks like listening more than speaking, diffusing conflict instead of escalating it, and leading with humility rather than ego. And while he's confident in his direction, a Sigma male doesn't mistake volume for vision. He doesn't need to shout to be heard. His presence speaks louder than words. In essence, the married Sigma male embodies a modern model of leadership, assertive yet humble, strategic yet collaborative, autonomous yet emotionally connected. He doesn't rule, he empowers. And in doing so, he creates a relationship built not on fear, but on love, trust, and shared purpose. Number 6, he creates safe space for vulnerability. Sigma males are often seen as mysterious, emotionally detached, or stoic, but that's only half the story. Beneath that composed exterior lies a deep emotional reservoir, one that most people will never see. But when it comes to the woman he chooses to share his life with, the Sigma male undergoes a quiet transformation. The walls come down, the mask slips, and something remarkable happens. He becomes a sanctuary. Unlike alpha males who often assert dominance, or beta males who seek approval, the Sigma male thrives on independence and introspection. This self-awareness gives him an unusual depth when it comes to emotional connection, especially in romantic relationships. While he may not express feelings freely in public, within the safe bounds of a committed relationship, he becomes a deeply empathetic partner. Psychology backs this up. Studies show that emotionally intelligent men are more likely to form strong, supportive relationships, even if they don't show emotion in overt ways. For his wife or partner, the Sigma male is a calm harbor. In a world that often demands performance and perfection, he offers a space where she can be vulnerable without fear of judgment. Whether it's tears, frustration, or uncertainty, he doesn't try to fix everything. He listens, he holds space, and he validates. That in itself is healing, but the beauty of this connection is that it's mutual. While he provides that emotional safety, he also begins to let his guard down. Not often, and not with just anyone. But when he opens up, when he shares his past, his wounds, his fears, it's genuine, unfiltered, and raw. It's a rare glimpse into a soul that's used to carrying its burdens silently. This dynamic creates a bond that's more than romantic, it's sacred. It's not built on flashy gestures or constant attention. It's built on mutual respect, trust, and emotional resonance. The Sigma male doesn't just love with words, he loves with presence, with protection, and with a kind of quiet loyalty that runs deep. So while the world may never see the full emotional capacity of a Sigma male, his wife knows. She knows because she's lived it, and that makes all the difference. Number 7, he keeps the mystery alive. Let's be honest. Most relationships lose their spark when they become predictable. Routines are comforting, but too much predictability can dull the excitement. That's where the Sigma male stands apart. He thrives on growth, evolution, and mystery, not for the sake of playing games, but because it's who he is. Even in the structure of marriage, the Sigma male remains captivatingly unpredictable. He's not unreliable, far from it. Instead, he brings a sense of spontaneity, curiosity, and depth that keeps his partner on her toes. Whether it's planning a weekend getaway out of the blue or dropping a philosophical insight that challenges her worldview, he keeps things fresh and stimulating. Psychologically speaking, novelty activates the brain's reward system. According to research in neuroscience, the brain releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, when it encounters something new or surprising. This means that when a Sigma keeps evolving and introducing unexpected joy or perspective, it deepens emotional bonds and maintains romantic attraction. He surprises her with his insight. He challenges her to keep growing. He doesn't just love her as she is, he loves her enough to inspire her toward who she can become. Why? Because he's doing the same for himself. He's the kind of man who's always leveling up, always seeking meaning, always refining his purpose. Being with a Sigma is like reading a novel that constantly adds new chapters, twists, and themes. You never quite reach the end, and that's what makes it beautiful. His mind, like his heart, refuses to settle into stagnation. He doesn't live to impress, he lives to evolve, and that, more than anything, keeps love alive. Number 8, he doesn't compete, he complements. A married Sigma male is secure in his identity and doesn't feel the need to outshine his partner. Instead of viewing his wife's strength as a challenge to his masculinity, he sees it as a complement to their partnership. This isn't just emotional maturity, it's a reflection of his independent mindset. Sigma males typically operate outside of traditional social hierarchies, which means they don't measure their worth through dominance or control. They value authenticity, not authority. Psychologists have noted that emotionally secure men are more likely to support their partner's achievements rather than feel threatened by them. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that men who felt secure in their relationship were more supportive of their partner's goals and experienced greater relationship satisfaction. For a Sigma male, it's not a battle of egos, it's a union of strengths. When she wins, he wins. He'll be the one in the crowd cheering the loudest, not because he's trying to get credit, but because he genuinely believes in her. That's why with him it's never him versus her, it's them versus the world. A Sigma male doesn't just marry a partner, he marries his equal, his teammate, his co-warrior. Sigmas, here's what it comes down to. When a Sigma male marries, it's not because he's afraid of being alone. It's because he's found someone worth building a legacy with. His love isn't loud, but it's deep. It's not flashy, but it's intentional. He leads without dominating, he gives without draining, he grows without leaving her behind, and maybe most importantly, he loves without losing himself. That's not just marriage, that's mastery. Sigmas, if you found yourself nodding, reflecting, or even challenging your own standards, then this video was for you. Be sure to like, subscribe, and join our growing community of modern Sigma males who live with purpose, power, and presence. Let's keep elevating the standard, not just for relationships, but for how we show up in the world. Stay true and stay Sigma. Why is it that some men are always on the outside looking in, and yet they don't seem to mind? Because they're not trying to get in. While society often obsesses over alpha males, the dominant leaders, and beta males, the agreeable followers, there's a third archetype that breaks the mold entirely, the Sigma male. These men don't reject the hierarchy because they want to be rebels. They ignore it because it simply doesn't apply to them. Sigma males are lone wolves by choice. Psychologists have noted that such individuals often score high in traits like self-reliance, introspection, and non-conformity. They're not antisocial, but selectively social. They can thrive in groups, but they just don't need them to validate their worth. Unlike alphas who lead the pack, Sigma males lead themselves. They prioritize purpose over popularity, values over validation, and solitude over superficial social climbing. And that's precisely why they never seem desperate to fit in. They've discovered that peace is found not in acceptance from others, but in alignment with themselves. In a world addicted to approval, Sigma males are refreshing anomalies. They don't chase trends, they don't beg for attention, and they don't compromise who they are just to be part of the crowd. Their mysterious, independent nature might make them outsiders, but it also makes them intriguing, resilient, and ultimately unforgettable. So if you've ever felt like you were walking your own path, disconnected from the herd, it might not be a flaw. It might be your Sigma nature calling. And that, my friend, is a strength. Reason 1, they don't crave validation. Let's get one thing straight. Sigma males do not need applause to validate their existence. While everyone else is doing things for the gram, Sigmas are doing things for growth. They don't need 300 likes to feel alive. They don't need group approval to act. They trust their own judgment, and that makes them a rare breed. This isn't just a catchy line, it's backed by psychology. According to self-determination theory, true motivation stems from autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Sigma males exemplify autonomy. They don't perform for the crowd, they act from internal convictions. While others crave external validation, Sigmas are fueled by self-validation, an inner compass that doesn't waver. When you stop seeking validation, you break society's most unspoken rule, conformity. Society wants you to play a role, dress the part, speak the script, and never question the rules. But Sigmas don't just break the rules, they walk off the stage entirely. They're not antisocial, they're selectively social. They engage when it's meaningful, not because it's expected. Why is this so powerful? Because validation-seeking behavior is linked to anxiety, low self-esteem, and burnout. Studies show that people who constantly look for approval tend to experience more emotional instability. Sigmas, on the other hand, often exhibit higher levels of self-reliance and mental clarity. They understand that self-worth isn't a popularity contest. It's something you build quietly, day by day, through discipline, reflection, and action. And here's the twist. When you stop chasing validation, people start noticing you more. Ironically, detachment from approval becomes magnetism. That's why Sigma males often seem so compelling. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're just becoming the best version of themselves. So the next time someone questions why you're not following the herd, remember, you're not lost. You're just walking a path only the self-assured dare to take. Reason 2, they're deep thinkers in a shallow world. Let's face it, modern culture thrives on small talk. Whether it's celebrity drama, the latest viral trends, or debates over who wore it better, society is hooked on surface-level chatter. But Sigma males, they tune it out. While others scroll through gossip, Sigmas are neck-deep in books, breaking down philosophies, decoding systems, and applying knowledge in ways most people wouldn't even consider. Sigma males are the intellectual rebels of the social hierarchy. They're not trying to be edgy or different just for the sake of it. They're built to think critically. Research from the Journal of Individual Differences highlights that individuals with introverted and independent personality traits, which Sigmas often embody, are more likely to exhibit high levels of cognitive curiosity and deep analytical thinking. They aren't satisfied with, that's just how it is. They want to know why it is, how it got that way, and what happens if you challenge it. This relentless questioning often isolates them. In a world that celebrates fitting in, Sigma males disrupt the narrative. They walk into a shallow pool and start asking deep questions, like why the water's shallow to begin with, and the result? Confused stares, uncomfortable silences, social exclusion. But here's the twist, Sigma males don't mind. They would rather walk alone with integrity than blend in wearing a mask. Being misunderstood is a small price to pay for being real. This isn't arrogance, it's authenticity. It's not that they're too cool for small talk, it's that their minds are too wired for substance to stay stuck in it. And that's what makes them powerful. In a society obsessed with image, Sigmas pursue insight. While others follow trends, they follow truth. And in doing so, they forge their own path, one that doesn't require approval to feel valid. Because at the end of the day, Sigma males know one thing: it's better to be underestimated than to be uninspired. Reason 3. They operate outside the social hierarchy. Most people are busy climbing ladders, career ladders, social ladders, hierarchies of power and prestige. But Sigma males, they dismantle the entire structure. They don't seek validation through status. They're not playing chess to become king. They've already left the board. While the world argues about who's alpha, beta, or gamma, the Sigma male is quietly building his own kingdom, often in literal solitude. Think Thoreau at Walden Pond, or Keanu Reeves quietly dominating Hollywood without craving the spotlight. Sigmas don't care where they rank because they never subscribe to the ranking system to begin with. This mindset is what makes them so unpredictable. In a society wired around conformity and control, the Sigma's refusal to play by the rules disrupts expectations. Psychology tells us that humans crave categorization. It helps us feel secure. So when someone refuses to be defined, that unknown becomes intimidating. Studies in behavioral psychology even suggest that unpredictable individuals can trigger discomfort in group settings because they're harder to influence or manipulate. Sigmas steer clear of drama, flawed, but because they're free. Free from social games, free from peer pressure, and free from needing the world's approval. Society might see that as a threat, but Sigmas see it as clarity. They've never needed the ladder because they've always had wings. Reason 4. They value solitude over noise. Crowds, overrated parties, maybe if the moon's in retrograde and the playlist doesn't suck. Sigma males thrive in solitude, not because they're antisocial, but because that's where they recharge, refocus, and reconnect with themselves. Unlike extroverts who draw energy from social interaction, Sigma males are what psychologists classify as introverted individuals with high autonomy. They're not afraid of being alone with their thoughts. In fact, they seek it. In today's hyper-connected world, silence has become rare and even feared. Most people drown themselves in distractions, endless scrolling, background noise, constant notifications. But Sigma males lean into the quiet. Why? Because silence sharpens their focus. It's in these quiet spaces that ideas are born, goals are refined, and resilience is cultivated. Solitude isn't loneliness. This is a key distinction. Loneliness is a craving for connection. Solitude is a conscious choice to be alone for self-growth. Studies show that individuals who spend regular time in solitude have increased creativity, better emotional regulation, and stronger decision-making skills. That's Sigma energy in action, and no, they don't ghost people. They simply understand that their time and energy are sacred. If they disappear, it's not drama, it's maintenance. A Sigma male knows that peace is more valuable than popularity, and mental clarity beats constant chatter. When you're alone and content, you develop a mental edge. You're less influenced by social norms, trends, or the need for validation. That makes you unpredictable. And in a world obsessed with conformity, unpredictability is power. So if you've ever turned down a night out just to sit under the stars with a good book or journal your thoughts in silence, congratulations, you're walking the Sigma path. You've already outgrown the crowd. You're building something deeper, something most people can't see but will one day feel, because a man who finds strength in solitude doesn't follow the noise. He becomes the signal. Reason 5, they speak with purpose, not for attention. Ever notice how some people talk just to hear themselves speak? That's not the Sigma way. When a Sigma male talks, it's intentional, measured, strategic. Unlike others who may be motivated by the need for attention or validation, a Sigma speaks with purpose. Every word is carefully chosen. They're not about noise, they're about signal. The distinction is subtle but powerful. They're the quiet force in the room, not the loudest voice. This measured approach often catches people off guard, and that's precisely what makes it so effective. In a world where everyone seems to be trying to fill the air with words, a Sigma's silence can be a game changer. It commands attention without demanding it. It's an invitation to listen more closely, to pay attention to what's truly being said. When a Sigma enters a conversation, it's not to dominate or control. They don't need to. They're there to offer something real, something valuable. Whether it's a nugget of wisdom, a sharp observation, or simply a unique perspective, a Sigma male's words are meant to leave an impact. The people around them may be used to surface-level chatter, but the Sigma's insights hit differently. They resonate. This kind of quiet confidence often makes others uneasy. In a culture of over-explainers and self-promoters, the Sigma's reserved nature feels like a power move. And for them, it is. Because it's not about filling the space with endless talking. It's about taking control of the conversation by saying just enough. Their words land with weight because they've earned the right to be heard. In a sea of noise, the Sigma remains a signal, a beacon of clarity and purpose. Reason 6, they prioritize freedom over comfort. Security is nice, but freedom? Freedom is everything. Sigma males possess an inherent desire for independence that drives their every decision. They would rather face the risk of failure chasing their own path than succeed by following the traditional routes that society lays out for them. This mindset explains why so many Sigmas take the leap into entrepreneurship, leaving stable jobs to start their own businesses. They value the autonomy of calling their own shots far more than the comfort of a predictable paycheck. These individuals are not averse to success, far from it, but they have a fundamental aversion to being trapped in a system, bound by the expectations of others. They don't conform to conventional norms because they know that true success, success that resonates deeply with the soul, requires carving out one's unique space in the world. Society often rewards those who are willing to follow orders, stick to established systems, and stay in the confines of the cage. However, Sigmas are allergic to those cages, those structures that limit personal expression and freedom. This rejection of societal norms is not rooted in rebellion for the sake of rebellion, but in the belief that freedom is the ultimate form of success. Sigmas understand that real growth occurs when you take ownership of your journey, risk failure on your terms, and redefine what success looks like. This is why you'll often see them turning down promotions or leaving jobs with potential for growth, if it means sacrificing their independence in the process. For Sigmas, it's not about following the herd or climbing a corporate ladder. It's about choosing to forge their own path. In a world that often pushes people to follow a prescribed set of rules, Sigmas reject conformity and redraw the map of what is possible. They understand that their path may not always be easy or conventional, but it's theirs, and that's where true fulfillment lies. Reason 7, they challenge the status quo. Ever met someone who just doesn't seem to follow the script? That's a Sigma male. Instead of adhering to societal norms or conforming to the status quo, they break away from the pack and forge their own path. They're the ones questioning why we still hold on to outdated traditions, why we measure success with money, titles, and external validation, and why we place more value on appearing rich than on being wealthy in mind, spirit, and heart. Sigma males see the world through a different lens. They recognize that the societal matrix is built on artificial constructs, rules that often don't align with their values or personal truths. Once they see through the facade, there's no going back. It's like seeing the strings on a puppet show. You can never unsee the illusion. When a Sigma enters a system that doesn't make sense, they don't simply accept it. They don't go along with the crowd or pretend everything is fine. They challenge it. They ask questions that others are afraid to ask. They don't hesitate to break it down, deconstruct it, and rebuild it on their own terms. And if the system refuses to evolve, they simply walk away. This ability to question the norm and reshape the world according to their values makes the Sigma male the ultimate disruptor. They don't follow trends, they create them. They don't fit in because they're too busy standing out and changing the game. For a Sigma, the world is a canvas, and they're not afraid to paint outside the lines. This mindset doesn't just make them unique, it empowers them to lead by example, showing others that true freedom lies in questioning, reinventing, and stepping away from the conventional. So next time you encounter someone who defies the system, who doesn't conform, and who's constantly rewriting the rules, there's a good chance you've met a Sigma male. Reason 8, they're comfortable being the lone wolf. Let's face it, fitting in can sometimes feel like a lonely pursuit. But here's the thing, being alone doesn't mean you're lost. For Sigma males, solitude is a conscious decision. They know that it's in those quiet moments of self-reflection and independence that true strength and clarity are found. While society often pressures people to find their tribe and belong to a group, Sigma males take a different approach. They don't surround themselves with people just to fill an emotional gap or fit in with the crowd. For them, it's more empowering to have no circle than to engage in fake friendships. They trust themselves, trust their own judgment, decisions, and path in life. It's all about embracing their independence, which gives them the freedom to grow on their own terms. You see, when you're walking your own path, there may not always be a cheering crowd behind you. But that's okay. Sigma males understand that the journey is not about applause, admiration, or external validation. The journey is about something much deeper, finding and fulfilling a personal purpose. This deep sense of self-reliance is what truly sets Sigma males apart from others. It's not about isolation for the sake of isolation. It's about choosing solitude to hear their own thoughts, make their own decisions, and ultimately live a life that is aligned with their values. Their solitude is not emptiness. It's a wellspring of growth and clarity. They know who they are and are not afraid to walk alone if it means staying true to themselves. Ultimately, Sigma males don't need a tribe because they are the tribe. So Sigmas, let's be clear, not fitting in is not a flaw, it's a feature. It's a sign that you're not here to blend in, you're here to stand out. These 8 reasons are more than traits. They're philosophies, they're choices. They're proof that being different isn't just okay, it's powerful. You're not broken because you see the world differently. You're awake, you're intentional, you're dangerous to a world built on blind obedience, and that makes you unstoppable. So if any of this resonated with you, if you've ever felt out of place but right on purpose, you're not alone, you're a Sigma. Hey Sigmas, if this video spoke to that wild, independent soul of yours, go ahead and smash that like button. Hit subscribe and join the community of thinkers, creators and lone wolves rewriting the rules. Live deliberately, think independently, walk fearlessly, and as always, stay true and stay Sigma.